Well, hello again, and welcome back to the Life Purpose Breakthrough course. This is a free course to help you break through and get unstuck so you can live your passion and purpose to the fullest. In the last video, I told you about the day I discovered that I was being abused by my minister and my church, and that, oh, by the way, the minister was my husband. And that was just an introduction to spiritual injury, and we'll talk more about what that means in this video. We'll also be talking about the number one reason why people get stuck in living their passion and purpose to the fullest. Now, in my own story, what I was going through was something I call a spiritual injury. And you don't have to be abused by a minister that you happen to be married to experience this, although it's a surefire way to get you there, let me tell you. The reality is that spiritual injury comes in all kinds of forms. It's something that shatters your soul. Spiritual injury can happen when a person in a position of power hurts or betrays you, like a priest or a minister, or it can come from an institution like your church or your school. Think about it. Who holds spiritual power or spiritual influence over you? A spouse? A trusted friend? A lover? Spiritual injury happens when everything you believe in and hold dear to your heart and that you have every hope for the future suddenly turns out not to be true or right or real. Has that ever happened to you? It feels like your soul has been totally, utterly, and completely shattered. And when that happens, when your soul is shattered, well, it's kind of hard to answer that whole why am I here question. Heavenly bells, it can be hard just to get out of bed in the morning when you go through that. Why is that? Why does spiritual injury have this incredible power to knock us for a loop? The reason is that spiritual injury is the worst kind of invalidation we can ever experience. So what exactly is invalidation? Well, invalidation is that thing that creeps into your life and steals your exclamation points. Now, that's probably not a definition you're going to find if you look it up in Webster's dictionary, but it might be kind of fun to make that submission. So invalidation is what happens when somebody tries to take you down a notch by branding you unreasonable, illogical, or wrong. People can invalidate you a whole bunch of ways, including ignoring your needs, refusing to believe you, or pretending you don't exist, or by telling you, either outright or through their actions, that you don't matter. Has that ever happened to you? You know the feeling, right? You feel discredited, crippled, totally nullified. It's like you don't matter. And when that invalidation comes in the form of a spiritual injury, when it's something that shatters your soul, it's even worse. Because who can you talk to, especially if the injury occurs within your church? Who can you talk to? Who can you confide in? Your minister? Your husband the minister who did it to you in the first place? So you hope to have a support system around you when you need it. But when you suffer a spiritual injury or any kind of invalidation, really, what if there's no one to talk to? Suddenly you may find yourself trapped in a life you don't even recognize, and that's how you lose your exclamation points. I know it's how I lost mine, and this is how you get stuck on autopilot, stuck in status quo, stuck doing what you think you're supposed to be doing without having any real idea of what you're supposed to be doing. Because when everything you've ever believed in is ripped out from under you, suddenly nothing makes sense anymore. It's like you're lost in a sea of question marks. But what if you could get rid of those question marks that circle overhead? And if you know me, you know how I feel about those question marks. What if you could get unstuck? What if you could get those exclamation points back and start living your passion and purpose to the fullest? Well, I often say that to get unstuck from your story, it simply takes a strategy, any strategy, and that's the very practical side of me. So my practical self would like to take a moment and introduce you to the unique passion blueprint. We'll be talking about this in another video, but I wanted to show you an overview of this strategy right now. This is a very practical application on how to bring clarity to your vision and your vision to life. And one of the questions that so many people ask me is, am I where I'm supposed to be? And one of my pet peeves are the well-meaning friends who say, you're exactly where you're supposed to be because it's exactly where you are. It makes me crazy. Maybe that comment is intended to bring comfort and support, but it doesn't do anything in the real physical world, which requires real physical world actions. And so that's why I created this blueprint, this strategy, which, by the way, is totally customized and personalized to your life purpose. And it's also why I created the Life Purpose Soul Cafe, and we'll talk more about this as we go. Now, on the other side of the coin, we need to understand that sometimes it isn't the physical world actions like strategies and blueprints. Sometimes we really do just need to clear the space energetically to even get to the idea of living your passions and purpose to the fullest. And that's what we'll be talking about in the next video, by clearing negativity so that you can get to living your passions and purpose. I'll be addressing one of the most common questions I get: how to flip any negative into a positive, any negative. Now be sure and grab your worksheets, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.